Good morning, all. I'll call it our meeting to order, the 24th day of March 2015 Board of Supervisors meeting. We'll note that we do have a quorum. Today we have Brad Simpson from the Wythe Presbyterian Church to do our invocation and remain standing for our pledge.
Let us pray. Mighty God, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for another day that you have given us to serve others with love and compassion, to make our community a place where all feel welcome, to make our community a place where people come together peacefully, as they do here with our Board of Supervisors, to make decisions that are the best for our community. I pray today that you would bless this Board of Supervisors and others who are gathered here today. Help them to make their decisions after discerning with wisdom and with compassion, decisions that reflect your will, and help them to be guided by your wisdom. We pray a prayer of thanksgiving today, especially for special times of celebration in our community. And especially today, we rejoice that as the wrestling championship is celebrated, that the wrestlers from Rural Retreat are here to remind us that our community has many reasons to be thankful. We're thankful for young people who share their talents and their many ways of coming together to be the people you have called them to be. We're thankful that they are here today and pray that you'll help them to know how special they are. We pray now that as this meeting comes together that you would indeed bless this meeting with your presence. And we pray this in all of our prayers in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone this morning. The first item on the agenda is citizens' time, and we have Linda Myers, first one signed up.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'd like to know in regard to the comprehensive plan if you're going to have any other public meetings, informational meetings before the public hearing.
Yes, we have some meetings scheduled. I don't have a list.
Actually, a two-phase process. The planning commission is now going out to the county with a comp plan, and they have various meetings throughout the county scheduled. Once that happens and they have the public hearing, then the Board of Supervisors, and they recommend it to the board.
Right.
Then there will be a second round of items with the board.
So, but you don't know now, except the one in Max Meadows, if we're going to have one in Speedwell or...
Ms. Myers, I will do a list. There are several locations. They contact Rural Retreat Lions Club, the Wytheville Rotary Club, the Piney Rewington Club. I do not know of anyone in Speedwell where they have scheduled any meetings down there. They're just talking to some.
Okay.
But if there's anyone in particular or any group down there that you'd like for us to schedule a meeting, let me know.
Well, the firehouse. That would be a good place, right?
Well, I mean, you could have it at the firehouse, but I mean, I don't know of a civic group. I mean...
Right. I don't know of a civic group either, but we'd appreciate it. Okay, if you could get us that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. Yes.
Ms. Murray, I guess, based off that, your question is to have one at Speedwell, so we'll try to
Schedule one.
schedule one then.
That'll work.
Okay, Mr. Manley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll give it just a second for the papers to circulate there, Mr. Chairman. But this is part of our ongoing effort for communication with our local governing bodies. We've been communicating quarterly, or as close to quarterly as we can get. This month, we decided to go to each governing body individually instead of waiting for the joint governing body. There's also a conflict with a work trip I have, so this worked out actually best in both ways. These are sort of the highlights of the last quarter or so of activity. The first page includes new or expanding business activity, and y'all are well aware of many of these things, but I would draw your attention to current active projects. And based on my understanding, that's probably the most activity that has gone on here in one time in many, many years. Two former board chairmen mentioned that 3 or 4, maybe so projects at a time would be not unusual, and that'd be a lot of activity. But right now, we're exceeding 12 active projects that are looking at us actively to locate a facility, or to expand, I should say. So we're really at a peak of activity, and we're working each of these diligently. If you're going down to major events, these are some of the things that we think were significant that have gone on in the last quarter. Those included or last quarter plus, I should say, since we haven't met since the end of September. But our mission to Richmond to meet with department heads, the hiring of the associate director, our 3 new board members that were appointed, the awarding of the website work, and we're looking for that to be active by the end of, sometime in the end of May, 1st of June range, which would be fantastic. The relaunch, I should say, of the revolving loan fund, the expansion and renewal of the enterprise zone, as well as our participation in the Drive Tourism campaign. These meetings, upcoming events, are very self-explanatory. If you go on to the next page, those are sort of marketing and media activities, educational pursuits. Ongoing activities are just sort of a catch-all category of things we do either on a regular basis or things just come up from time to time. And on the back page, I'll draw your attention to the business contacts. Those are all folks that we've sat down and discussed new business, expanding business of some sort or another with. And like I said, this is a highlights report. It's not everybody. And of course, some folks don't want to be listed or can't be listed, so that would contribute to that as well. But we feel like we're working the goals that were set out for us, and we're happy to meet with you anytime. We invite you to our office as well. We're happy to discuss any of this with you at any time. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions for David?
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Ms. Arnold?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Arnold, and I'm from Speedwell, and I'm here to speak on the behalf of Speedwell Elementary. We, the citizens of Wythe County, are petitioning you all and the school board to keep Speedwell Elementary in Phase 2 and not push it out. We are also petitioning you all and the school board to redraw bus lines. We as a community are still concerned of the closing of the school. Even though it is off the table and out of Phase 2, we are not happy about that. And the reason being is in the next phase, you all and probably the school board will say there's just isn't enough money to renovate it. So let's just go ahead and keep it in Phase 2. We need our school renovated in Phase 2 to assure a safe haven for our children. Redraw bus lines and you will solve 2 problems: the overcrowding in other schools and give Speedwell Elementary more attendance. We have worked on these petitions. We have a lot of support from our community and the citizens of Wythe County. I am presenting you all the petitions today. We have 1,109 signatures. The reason for the petitions are we are a school worth saving and renovating. We understand there are a lot of children that goes to the town schools and they need things as well. But Speedwell Elementary does as well, like being renovated. I personally don't agree with the $7.5 million that is being said given to Spiller to take one side of the building off and putting it on the other side. I mean, I just don't feel that's necessary. It should have been done in the original renovation. I also don't agree with the $5.5 million going to Scott either. There is no need for a 400-seat gym. I thought that's why, tax dollars built the community center, to help with that. We all know these schools here in town will be here for years to come. So we petition to fully renovate Speedwell Elementary and redraw bus lines in Phase 2. And if not, then we don't want to as a community, but we will go to higher authorities to make sure that is done.
Oh, I get to be Patty.
This is just saying what the petition says on it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. That is everybody that's signed up. Does anybody else would like to speak during citizens' time? Come on, man.
My name is Beth Matney, and I know several of you, I think all of you got emails from me just a while back about Speedwell Elementary School. Thank you for those who have responded. I appreciated that. I'm here for the same reason. We filled this petition, got this petition going, got its signatures on it to keep our school open. I know that's more of a school board issue than a board of supervisors issue, but if they're asking you for money, then you guys know how I feel. I don't think you should just take our taxpayer dollars and hand it to this school board and say, take it and do what you want to with it. That's money I worked for. That's money they've worked for. And we have a right to say, I think how you spend it. And if I come to you and I say, I need this amount of money, because you're handing it to me and it's your money, you have a right to tell me what I need to, how I need to divide that up and what's the right way for me to spend it. That's part of being a parent, as I said in my email, but it's also part of your job as supervisors, hence that word, in guidance. I just hope that you guys, because we went to the school board meeting, we've been to those meetings and we've begged and pleaded and done everything in the world that we know to do to keep our school open. And the last meeting, we got the exact response we figured we were going to get. Was it 6-1, Gene?
6-1, yeah.
6-1. Mr. Fry, who is our delegate on the school board, he's the only one that voted no. He's the only one who came to us after the meeting and said, my hands are tied. What else can I do? Nobody has offered to talk to us, to work with us. We've put everything out there. We're willing as parents, as citizens, to sit down and help them redraw lines, work for any kind of money we can get to, fundraisers. Renee has a whole list of fundraisers. Anything we can do to help. It may be a penny in the pot, but it's something. And if we feel that strongly about it, we hope you feel that strongly about it too, that you're willing to back us up and say, hey, look, is there not anything you guys can do to help this school? It's important. It's important to our kids. It's important to our community. Speedwell is nothing without this school. We're through and down on the end of the county anyway, and it's a nice little community. You guys should come visit. Mr. Horney lives there. Come and see the farm. I'll invite you to his house.
Well, they can come help feed anytime they want.
That's what I'm saying. Really, we don't have a bank anymore. We don't have, a car wash. We don't even have a car wash. We have a store and a post office that's open like a max of 4 hours a day. There's nothing there. At our school, we have a walking track. There's a playground that the kids play on, all summer. They just completed a picnic shelter. It's a nice little place for the community to be involved in and to go and spend some time. Our kids love that school. We love that school. And without it, our community's just, it's not anymore. So you have that power, and I'm asking you to use it. If you'll just say, I know Renee wants everything, just keep us open. Give us what we need to stay open. The bathrooms need to be upgraded to be handicapped accessible is what I understand. And the plumbing, I think, or the heating pipes need to be replaced. They've had some problems with that. And the windows were a big thing. Let's talk with the school board and see what we can do. Minimal that we need to keep us open and functioning. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else would like to speak during citizens' time? Hearing none, I'll close citizens' time. Okay, next item on the agenda is wrestling team resolutions. Okay. I'm gonna do George Wythe, Austin Talbert. Could you come up, please? I'm gonna read this. Wythe County Resolution 2015-07, resolution honoring the George Wythe High School wrestling team. Whereas the George Wythe High School wrestling team completed a very successful 2014-2015 season, and whereas the George Wythe High School wrestling team placed second in the Virginia High School League Group 1A state championship, scoring 68 total tournament points, and whereas wrestler Austin Talbert defeated the competition to become the 132-pound weight class individual state champion, and whereas the wrestlers and coaches of the George Wythe High School wrestling team displayed outstanding dedication, athletic ability, and sportsmanship, and whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors officially congratulate state champion Austin Talbert and the entire wrestling team and coaching staff for their outstanding season. Therefore, be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors presents this resolution to Austin Talbert and the George Wythe High School wrestling team and coaches in recognition and appreciation of their accomplishments, and be it furthermore resolved that a copy of this resolution be incorporated into the official minutes of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors meeting adopted this 24th day of March 2015. Congratulations. And we have one.
Wait a minute. I make a motion that we accept that resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Resolution passes. We have a representative from the high school. Congratulations. Get a picture. Okay, thank you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Gary Hausman that knows Rural Retreat very well.
Yeah, I appreciate Chairman Reeves was kind enough to let me do these resolutions for a couple of reasons. One, I'd served as Rural Retreat High School's principal for 12 years, and also I hired your principal and coach. I'm going to read the resolution. We have this for the school, and also we have one that is written the same way for each of the members of the team that won state championships, or that were state champions. So, Wythe County Resolution 2015-06, a resolution honoring the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team. Whereas the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team completed their 2014-2015 season undefeated with an overall record of 20-0 in dual meets, and whereas the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team advanced to the Virginia High School League's Group 1A State Wrestling Championship, and whereas the Rural Retreat High School team surpassed the competition, winning an unprecedented back-to-back overall title, earning the designation as Virginia High School League 1A State Wrestling Champions for the second year. And whereas the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team scored an astonishing 176.5 total tournament points and earned 6 individual wrestling weight class titles. And whereas wrestlers Trey Boyd, 106-pound weight class, Ty Boyd, 126-pound weight class, Josh Pinuel, 138-pound weight class, Caleb Snyder, 145-pound weight class, Jacob Wynn, 120-pound weight class, and Josh Wynn, 113-pound weight class, were individual state champions in their respective weight class. And whereas the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team completed a spectacular season and displayed outstanding dedication, athletic ability, and sportsmanship, and whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors officially commends the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team comprised of Trey Boyd, Ty Boyd, Weston Coley, Logan Deal, Jacob Glenn, Devin Meredith, Harley Mitchell, Trent O'Neill, Josh Pinuel, Leighton Powell, Cade Rouse, Caleb Snyder, Marshall Taylor, Jacob Wynn, and Josh Wynn, head coach Rick Boyd, and the entire staff for their exemplary 2014-15 season. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors present this resolution to the Rural Retreat High School wrestling team: Trey Boyd, Ty Boyd, Josh Pinuel, Caleb Snyder, Jacob Wynn, and Josh Wynn, in recognition and appreciation of their achievements. And be it therefore further resolved that a copy of this resolution be incorporated into the official minutes of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors adopted this 24th day of March 2015. So Rick, if you'd come up, get this for the school.
Can I have a motion to accept the
I'll
resolution?
say, you want to make that motion, Gary, or you want me?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I didn't read it for nothing.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Yeah, just stay up here. Now, if I can have Trey Boyd. Congratulations, Trey.
Thank you.
Yeah, your daddy wrote you, didn't he? Yeah. Ty Boyd. Kind of runs in the family a little bit. Josh Pinuel. Josh, congratulations. Caleb Snyder.
You making room for a demonstration there?
I've got to set the stage.
Which one of them you want?
Jacob Wynn. And Josh Wynn. Josh is not here. I'm going to give it to you then. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to ask for one other picture. Would the rest of the team come up?
Oh, I thought you was going to wrestle Cade.
Nope. No. I'm in the upper weight class. And Mr. Jackson, if you'll come up with him.
Is that camera wide lens enough?
Dyer, you can come in.
I was hoping to get out of this.
Wrong.
Yeah, some of you all can step up back on this if you would. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Rick, good job. Good job.
Congratulations.
Hey, Gary, I need to make an amendment to my prayer, please. When I asked this side of the table who is here today special, I included Rural Retreat in my prayer. Preachers need to be inclusive. George Wythe, George Islam, you're all important.
That's the first time we've ever had an amendment to a prayer. Limit to that.
And I have to tell you, Brett, I didn't know you could do that. I'm sure the Lord knows.
Great job, congratulations again.
Do we have to vote on the amendment?
It's going to go downhill from here, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Moving on with the agenda, have the approval of the minutes of the previous March 10th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion, any corrections or changes need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horning?
Aye.
I abstained, wasn't here.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices.
I make a motion, we pay the invoices as presented.
Have a second.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to pay the invoices. Any invoice any board member would like to discuss or have any questions about? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Okay, moving right along. We have Pete Boards here to, for Progress Park Road update.
I can do it without breaking the clock this time. Good morning. I want to thank you all for having us here and giving us a chance to give you a quick little update. I think everybody knows me, but I'm Scott Bortz with Peden Bortz. Elvin is behind the board over there hiding, and this is Joe Wallace with Davenport. He is our transportation specialist on this job. Excuse me. I'm trying to be real brief on this one, so we'll get through it as quickly as we can with our spiel. If y'all have questions as we're going along, feel free to ask them, or there'll be a point at the end where I'll let y'all ask anything in particular. Going to talk about the three things: where we've been, what we've been doing, where we are now, and where we're moving towards with the schedule. We've been working on the traffic analysis. Previously, Joe's been the specialist on that one, and he's going to come and give you a little bit of background on where we are, what that's determined into in terms of how much traffic counts we're seeing out there, and what that's leading to for a section on this roadway.
If you like, we can go ahead and follow along on the PowerPoint. Again, my name is Joe Wallace. I'm with Davenport, and we are assisting Peden Bortz in the traffic engineering, transportation planning, and road design. First slide. This is an overview of the alternatives that were initially presented were 1, 2, and 3. Subsequently, after we've looked at the possible trip generation of the park build-out, we've created and developed an alternative 3A and 3AA. And what they are is they are a modification of alternate 3. Now, next slide, please. Alternate 1 ties into Peppers Ferry Road. All of the alternate alignments, all the alignments begin at the intersection of Ely Trinkle and Gator Lane. And alternate 1 ties in approximately 1.25 miles east of 77 on Peppers Ferry Road, and then it continues on the existing alignment of Peppers Ferry Road. Now, next, pros and cons of alternate 1 is that, yes, it's fewer disturbances to undeveloped land, remains on existing Peppers Ferry Road alignment, and it has overall acceptable levels of service, of which most all of these alternates do. Does have on the con side is that may encounter environmental issues, significant town utility relocations, traffic queuing, and major intersection road section improvements, including the ramp widening and bridge widening. All three of the alternates a part of our scope with VDOT was we had to study 2024, 2035, and 2040, taking the build-out of the potential park as you see it today, plus any land along these alternates. And when you take that potential build-out and the trips generated from that, when you get to 2040, the interchange is looking at signalization both ramps. Ramps, both sides widened, the bridge widened as wide as 6 lanes in 2040. Now, with that said, I will get to what we have developed as a course of action to take, and that we're working with VDOT, and they seem very receptive of doing this. But let me quickly run through alternate 2. Alternate 2 is ties in Peppers Ferry Road about 3/4 mile from 77, and then remains on the Peppers Ferry Road alignment. Now, alternate 3, next slide, please. Alternate 3 ties into Nye Road, and what we are looking at is there are multiple design issues when we get to Nye Road, and then eventually tying from where we tie into Nye Road and where Nye intersects Peppers Ferry Road. Because the ramp is offset, we have actually looked at realigning the ramps versus having them offset. And that's all a part of alternate 3.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
We still don't have a mess there when you come out on Pepper Ferry Road, if you take alternate 3.
If you take alternate 3 without the ramp aligned with Nye Road, yeah, it is that 6 to 7 lane section, signalization, in order to achieve the level of service that we are bound by and per standard. And so, yes, it is going to be a great deal of traffic and a lot of congestion. But we can get the level of service with the lanes that we've talked about as far as 6 and 7 lanes. Now, if we align the ramps, the overall congestion as well as road improvements decreases slightly. Then we also have looked at the alternative of making Nye Road a right-in, right-out. And that's where we came up with the 3A and 3AA. As you'll see, next slide. Now, 3A, what we're looking at is tying in to Peppers Ferry Road just before Granite Acres, and then teeing Peppers Ferry Road into the new alignment, and subsequently realigning Nye Road as well, so that we are taking the traffic away from the interchange, and we're moving it so that we can handle the congestion off of that interchange. Next slide. Should be this. Okay. All right. This is what I alluded to earlier. When you have to do your planning part of a project like this, in order to get to the road design part of the project, you have to look at all the available land. And when we look at all the available land there, and we assign land use to the available property, and then create the trips from that, what we found was, as we went through our 3 alternates, we have an interchange that could look as large as 6 lanes, and have signalization, and also call for ramp realignments. So we have been working with VDOT, and we've introduced a development cap, and we're calling it the 2024 supplemental analysis. And what that does is it allows the county to build the 2 lanes on a 4-lane, and Scott will talk to the road design issues, build 2 lanes on a 4-lane right-of-way, and reach a development cap. And it can be in any type of land use as long as we don't exceed the peak hour numbers that we have analyzed. So that gives you a lot of flexibility to move forward, design a two-lane road, build it, and then start attracting tenants to the park. Now, what we're looking at is this, is that with the two-lane road, we have an alternate one, that's the alignment, the alternate one alignment is 15,000 vehicles a day, additional to what you have today. Alternate two, same, tie into Peppers Ferry Road, about 3/4 of a mile from the interchange, and we're looking at up to 17,000 vehicles a day. And then we look at alternate three is 12,000 vehicles a day, where we just tie into Nye Road. And then it stays on its same configuration as you have today. And that is 12,000 vehicles a day. Any questions for me? Scott?
All right, I'll pick it up from there. Next slide, please, Joe. Okay, what Joe's basically saying, and hopefully y'all can see there, you have your sketches on there. Given the ultimate development of the park and the surrounding areas, because once, we all know Lot 24 is a healthy site, we're hoping to get a nice industry in there, but if this road comes in with really either any of these alternatives, there's a potential for a lot more development out there. You know, Pepsi's, the gentleman out there has been trying to develop that with some industrial components as well. So as that road goes in, it's going to bring in more development is there. And so we have to look at that and say, okay, what happens when an Amazon comes in, or a Walmart, or someone along those lines comes in and drives that road up? And that's what's driving this road to go to that 4-lane section instead of 2-lane. Now, the cap that Joe just spoke about is basically saying, okay, we're going to grade this road for 4 lanes, but we're only going to pave 2 right now. And that 2-lane section is going to be adequate, based on projections, and these are all numbers, of the build-out of the park. So that if the build-out of the park continues as we expect, this new 2-lane road, wherever it goes to tie in up in here, or if it happens to go to Peppers Ferry Road, will be adequate in that term. As soon as something else drives that number larger, another development comes in east of the park, or something else goes in off Nye Road, possibly, although really we scooched up a little bit more to the east. As soon as something comes in there, or as soon as the board authorizes something along additional in the park, that will drive it into the 4-lane section. Okay? Let's see.
I guess the simple explanation of that is we're going to build it with the traffic that's there now plus some extra.
Exactly.
As the park develops, they've got these projections and their traffic impact analysis as the traffic builds up. And then it's a certain point, you've got to add the extra lane and do additional improvements.
And I want to make sure, Joe wanted me to emphasize that. We projected it based on what we think the land use is going to go to. So we think it'll be I don't know, it'll drive 10,000 trucks a day in one of those lots and 2,000 another. That takes you up to that 12. But if some different kind of industry comes in there, it may drive it over that number that it exceeds, and we'll need to go to the 4 lanes faster. But again, that's something it would come through y'all first for authorization on that.
And that's part of the process as you evaluate prospective industries and provide incentives. You will know as part of that project what their traffic, and you have the means then to go forth with that additional revenue from the industry to make that happen. The same could happen on that corridor. If Walmart decided, or Target or somebody decided to build on the corridor, and y'all issued a building permit, then it's going to force that traffic numbers up that you have to build that for. But that's a decision based off information that you'll have.
And that does include the town a little bit. Again, the town line's not really clear on there, but hopefully y'all can see it a little bit. So there's a little bit of development. If something happens in there with the town, it will drive that number up, really going more westerly on that one. Next slide, please. And I think this is just really the sketch showing the initial 2 lanes, and then the statement that we're not going to be driven until something comes in there that drives that number over. That's when you'll need to go to the 4 lanes. That's pretty much all I have on that one. Our schedule on this one right now is we're planning on meeting with joint session with yourselves, Rural Retreat and Town of Wytheville on Monday evening. I believe it's Monday. I'm sorry. Yeah, Monday evening. After that meeting, we're going to advertise probably 2 weeks in a row in the paper for a public meeting the end of April. Public meetings required by the VDOT process. You need to be able to have something that's completely separate than a board meeting or a joint meeting. So that's what we're going to aim for on that one. After that public meeting, see what everyone has to say, review those comments, and then hope to come back to the board with our recommended alternative to move forward. Hopefully that board meeting early May, or perhaps that second one, the second board meeting in May.
Could you explain the advantages of A3 or 3A and 3AA? I mean, why is you have two? What is the advantages?
Okay, when you're looking at the 3A and 3AA, actually those are alignments as they come off of Peppers Ferry Road. One of them is a tangent alignment right off of that before that curve, right before Granite Acres. And then the second, that curve is if we have to get through and because of any constraints that we may have in our design. Okay, we prefer the tangent alignment, the 3AA, as far as the design side, instead of this. But we may be constrained by either right-of-way or other issues that would impact us.
3AA goes right through that house that's on the corner that's been for sale for a number of years. I don't know if someone bought it. But obviously, it's a straighter alignment coming into coming into the interchange.
Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions?
I've got one comment. This is the last time we had an internal meeting about this. AEP has now published a map of potential 138 kV lines that impact at least 3 of these alternatives.
That's a good point. I'm sorry, if y'all could bring up that one, you may be able to see them. The one you have on the sheet, it's a little bit lighter than I would like it to be. There's a line going right, alternative 2 for AEP, goes down through here, cuts the corner, and then it looks like they had actually given, or we gave them our initial alignments from probably a year and a half ago now. And I think they took that and then made an alternative out of that. So it's just this light gray line you can see going right underneath our alternatives, till then it cuts down. And they're actually now, before we thought they were going to go on the north side of their existing alignment, now their alignment is going on the south side of their alignment. Their second alignment, I think alternative 1, kind of cuts up at a northwest tack on there. And again, hopefully, I think y'all might be able to see it on your sheets. Hopefully it comes up. If not, we can get it to you. But Mr. Dalton's right. We did get that late last week, so we did overlay it as best we could.
But it does go to the south of alternate 3, the line.
Correct, yes. Well, it's something, it's still in the early phase for all of us, I think, so they probably took, our initial alignment 3 was kind of more coming in right behind the back of Granite Acres and tying in here, and again, it was more schematic, so I think they drew something similar in here and said, well, we'll go like that, go below ours, but we can obviously look up the details of that one. We're hoping to kind of use a little bit of their right-of-way as well.
Does anyone else have any questions? Mr. Dalton, do you have anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one. And we still don't have tractor and trailers back from up down Peppers Ferry Road trying to get on the interstate.
That's an excellent point. At this point, yes. Well, if we go to 3, alternative 3, and bring them in here, it's going to change kind of where they go. They're going to go in this way, be more backed up on Nye Road, and go down that way. We can't touch, as part of this job, we can't touch that interchange. That's federal money, federal stuff, so we can't really get into this mess. We're kind of relying on VDOT to ultimately fix that. So right now, we're going to bring this down here, and so we're going to have a little bit more of the queuing length, the storage length on Nye Road, and the ability to do that out there instead of having them backing up on Pepper Ferry Road.
Well, most of them coming in that lower side, they're gonna go north.
Coming this way?
No, down there.
Down here?
Yeah, right there, they're gonna go to the west, yeah.
Go down and hit 81.
Yeah, they're gonna come down and work.
Come down here and
and
then-
exit 77.
Okay, go back, then around. That's a possibility too. So this does kind of move, the 3 kind of moves a lot of that stuff out of the way. Joe might be able to explain it a little bit better than I
No,
can.
that's exactly what we're talking about, as far as trying to get some of this traffic congestion away from the interchange, because what is, from the beginning of our time working with VDOT, from our initial scoping to just recently, VDOT was very much interested in doing work and including the Peppers Ferry Road interchange with the 81 projects. They have since, I don't want to say dismissed, but Peppers Ferry Road is no longer part of their 81 overlay projects anymore. Therefore, that's the other driving force that we had to come up with a plan of development that we can actually build a road, get something out there without having to look at the full development of that park. And that's why we came up with that 2024 alternate scenario that gives you, I mean, when you're talking 12 to 17,000 trips a day, that's a pretty good development in industrial. That gives you the ability to move forward and does not get us into dealing with the feds.
What this also does, for those that went and listened to House Bill 2, allows you to create a project that's dealing with our traffic, but then we could propose with House Bill 2, a project at exit 41 that's probably going to score very high on that criteria. And then under that House Bill 2, the Bristol District would make that one of the priorities of the district on the primary interstate 6-year plan. I think you've got to look at the bigger picture of what this does. You help the queuing problem, and you don't really solve the problem, but you help the queuing problem. You move when they get out there, and that allows the locality and you House Bill 2 to make an application that's going to, for a project that's going to be, I would say, close to the top in the scoring list that get you funded on a 6-year plan.
Because traffic congestion is one of the criteria.
That's exactly right.
And economic development.
And it's the same. So that project, if you follow through with it correctly and push exit 41, whether it's a locality driven, for those that went to those meetings, locality driven application can be put in there, and that helps get that exit 41 right to the top of the list. I think they came up with some excellent proposals of how to do this. Next step is get public input of what they think about it. But it's a bigger picture than just a road to the park. It gives you ammunition to get exit 41 fixed and get to the top of the list, a high scoring project that you won't have any money.
Anything else? Anybody have any more questions?
Like, that would that include some development, whether it's VDOT or us or whoever, on the west side of 77? There were, there's some congestion because of those truck stops.
Exactly. That interchange will have to be dual bridge.
Because now this doesn't show any of that.
Gary, the directions from the county were these guys to stay away outside of the limited access road fence.
Yeah.
So that we did not get involved with the Federal Highway Administration. Because if you do, then your whole project ends up being under federal highway rules, which means, could potentially mean sound barrier, noise studies.
Right.
We had long discussions about where their project was to stop and not get us tangled up with the federal highway administration.
But it would give them a reason to, a reason to do some development there,
Yeah,
or
the
changes.
traffic impact analysis, these guys have done, takes it to the point that dumps it onto their problem, which is already a problem, which Coy said. But it gives you the impetus, really, under House Bill 2, which is a new program, to put an application in and get that interchange funded and get this whole project done within a 6 to 8 year period. I
And
think
this,
it's an opportunity that it's hard to pass up at this point.
and this would score real high on House Bill 2.
Any of the alternatives that include Nye Road, just going down Pepper's Ferry is not going to help.
It might help, but I think it doesn't help with the queuing problem that Coy's talking about right now, because you're just dumping, it's a direct link in, they're running 35 miles an hour up there, so you're backing up traffic down towards Granite Acres and queuing, and if you come around those loops, you've got a longer queuing problem. Stop signs, interchanges, turn lanes, etc.
Well, I know it's in the town, but even, by doing that, it's going to open up probably some more land possibly along Pepsi for development, wouldn't it?
It will. One of the things that I talked to the town about is we saw the water problem the other week when town's water line went down to Gatorade. Talking about actually putting some water line utilities in this new right of way to give a second feed out there. So there's all kinds of positives that can happen with that.
Anything else? Thank y'all. See you Monday night. Mr. Dalton, we have anything else under old business?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to reports. Treasury report, Mr. Sam Crockett.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, Sam.
I'm going to give a list of the judicial sales that we're going to have in this room next Monday afternoon. Like I told Slell, after 3 years, that's all they got done, so that's one reason we just decided to terminate TACS as far as doing this stuff. They have about another 25 properties they're working on it. We've already paid for the title work, so we just sort of thought they drug their feet for too much and too long, so we're just not going to use them anymore. And but that's what we're going to have on sale for this coming Monday. There's one of them on there that may not be on there that Darlene called me yesterday that through some money that got transferred from a lien process, went to the state instead of to us. So they got like $4,500 there. When that comes back, that's going to probably take them off of there too for one of them. But hopefully we'll have a good crowd of people. There's been quite a bit of interest in the office of people wanting to know about the sale and things like that. The advertisement's been working, and so hopefully we'll have quite a few people in here Monday afternoon.
Sam, can I ask that 135-303 versus Randy's Incorporated, there's two of them. Is that where the old bank store was in Retreat?
Yeah, that's where they have their auto parts place, that one, and then the other one's just outside the town limits. That's we're behind the near Milk. What is that name of that road?
Milk Plant Road,
Milk
is
Plant
that their
Road, yeah.
junkyard?
That's the salvage yard, yeah. But Randy, a Compton guy called me last week, and he's going to try to save that. I gave him the totals of what he owes the county, what he owes TACS, And he's gonna try to save that piece of property and let the building there in town probably go to auction. Because honestly, the town of Retreat really wants that, and they're working
Well, I
on
know that was-
buying that for their downtown revitalization.
Revitalization, yeah, that was
Right.
why I was asking, because I think that they had talked to him and he made kind of an outlandish offer to sell to
Oh,
them.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I didn't know it was in, in this situation.
like I told Michael up there, that if they try to buy it from Compton Direct, they're gonna pay a lot of money for it, because it's assessed for about $330,000 or something like that. I said, but, if it goes through this judicial sale, we have a good amount of bidders, it goes to the guardian ad litem, and the judge approves it, then they should get it at a lot less money than that. I think that's the town's best buy, just to buy it through the auction sale, and that's what their plans are right now. And I've only had one other person, some gentleman called me yesterday, wouldn't give me his name. He's interested in it too, so it may have a little competition, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, is there any kind of lien on that thing, or do you know?
Oh, yeah, they owe us a lot of tax dollars. On personal property also, we have liens against it for that.
Well,
Plus the real estate tax on it.
Yeah.
And then some personal property taxes.
I guess what I was asking, and of course you may not know.
I don't know about the other liens.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, yeah, okay. Well, that may work out.
Yeah, I hope it does
Yeah.
for the town of Retreat.
Sam, you come first in liens though, don't you?
Yeah.
Pay the king first and then,
Yeah, yeah. We come first on that
Okay.
type of stuff. Hopefully it'll bring a decent amount of money, because town of Retreat has taxes against it too. I think I put it on there, on that list right out to the side.
15,000.
Yeah, they owe town of Retreat also, so hopefully we'll both get right on that. There's one here in town, I know we probably won't get right on. They owe us $3,000 or $4,000. They owe the town of Wythe, I think it's $13,000 I put on there. That's where they tore an old house down. And that lot's not going to bring that kind of money at an auction, I don't think. I told Mike just not to expect to get all of his money back. I don't think we'll get all of it.
Are there any minimum bids, or is it just simply?
They're
if they
gonna
tax-
put minimums on it this year.
They are, okay.
That, and I go either way on that. I mean, you put a minimum up there, way on up there, and you're not gonna get any bidders.
Right.
But if you have a low minimum or something, and you, like
That's
an auction
great.
sale, I want $100, no bid, how about 5, and then you get, everybody starts bidding, and that's kind of the way I look at auctions. But, John and them talked about, needing minimum bids on it, and you may not get any bidders in. So, it's kind of an iffy situation. We know what we need to get out of it, and to me, we just need to kind of play it by ear.
They're not gonna say, just pay the past due taxes on it. And
That's
you have
right.
the property.
Yeah, so we'll just have to play, and see what kind of crowd you have at the sale. That's all we can do, so. Hopefully it'll be a good one, but, we're getting some action on it, so. Anybody else got any questions about that? Just wanted to share that with you, let you know it's gonna be here, that we planned it, like I said, I've planned it twice, and had the community center reserved twice. And the first time they had 10 properties, and I said, I'm not gonna have a sale for 10 properties, that's stupid. So I canceled it, and the next time they had like 16 or less, and so I canceled the community center again. So this time we just talked to Slell about having it in here. I mean, we've got a sound system and everything, so it'll work out okay.
Will you have any kind of maps to show for these?
I have some down there at the office, yeah, some packets that Darlene made up and sent me, that if you want to see them, I got 3 or 4 of them down there in the office. I can print some more if anybody needs them, yeah. Back to our regular report then on our consolidated account balance. Currently, we have $55,873,000 in all of our accounts. And our general fund balance currently is at $33,863,000. On our local collections, this is as of yesterday, we ran a revenue statement yesterday. Our total taxes for our local collected taxes are $17,603,000. We have still got some delinquent taxes out, got quite a bit, as a matter of fact. But our collection rate's on up there pretty good, because some of the line items have exceeded their budget limits. But we're at about 99% collection rate based on our budget and stuff. And then on, got some other sheets. Let's do that. On our delinquencies, I think I told y'all yesterday, I sent about 10,000 delinquent tickets. I sent out 9,869 delinquent tickets. Of that, 2622 were real estate and 7247 were personal property. And there was still about 3,000 that were just less than $20 I didn't send out. You know, it turned out that hopefully was a good plan. The exonerations, we're still exonerating those old cars off right now. In our exonerations for the old cars, we're at $389,000 worth of exonerations on that. So it's and a lot of our delinquencies, it's probably going to still be some of those old cars. I've been going through them and looking at them. But it's
On that, what was the total amount on the personal property books? There was 389,000 exonerated, what was the beginning balance?
I think it was, I had that sheet, I think it was 500,000. David had worked that thing up, I didn't bring it with me. It was 500 and some $1,000 on, you're talking about title cars only?
Yeah, what you put on the books for title
It was
tax?
500 and some thousand. You remember what it was? It's something, David had that number worked up at 527,000, I think. I had it on one of my papers, and I didn't bring all the papers. And we've taken off 389,000 worth of them that we've exonerated. We still have, a lot of tickets out, a lot of delinquent taxes out. For unpaid, we still have 7,500 delinquent tax records, and a lot of them are going to be those old cars, old trailers that we've put on there.
So value-wise, after exonerations above, we're talking about $100,000 plus or minus different.
We still got a bunch we haven't heard from. You got to take those into consideration. Out of the 7,500 delinquent tax tickets, I know about 3,000 of them were one old car, or two old cars at less than $20. And that's a bunch of them. I've asked David if he could go through and list the cars by value and stuff on a sheet so we can take a look and see what is there. But there's
$6,020, they're less than $20, let's say they're 20, that's $60,000,
yeah. So there's still a bunch more that, if they come in, will probably be exonerated, I guess. But we're up over 9,000 exonerations this year, so we've done a lot of paperwork this year. We really have. But I'll get that number for you. I'll call you, send you an email with
I
it.
guess last thing, we talked a little bit yesterday, the real estate, the delinquents, did they go out on pink slips too?
Yeah.
Everything went out on pink?
Everything went on the pink slip.
Personal property, real estate, everything's gone out? you
Yeah,
said?
it's gone
It's
out.
above $20?
Yeah. Now, we've gotten quite a few back of return mails, even though they rent that national change of address. We've probably got 300, 400 of them back. We've been going through it, and Faye's girl's been looking up for new addresses. We've mailed a bunch of them back out, and they've come back again. So we just put a note in there, and we're not going to waste the postage on them anymore, so that they're just not, you can't find them. So we try to get as many of them out to the right people, but sometimes we don't succeed. Anybody else got any questions?
So most of that 1.9 uncollected, that's mostly the dollars is in the real estate side still?
Yeah. Well, statement. For delinquent real estate from on our revenue statement is $260,278. And the delinquency on personal property is $428,000. And then you have some more other delinquencies too, but those are the two bulk of it. So it's actually more personal property delinquents now than it is
In real estate.
in real estate.
I guess, same, I don't want to put words in Artie's mouth, but you're talking off the budget, and Artie's talking off what was printed in the plan book.
Okay, well,
Well, I was just looking at the uncollected taxes for 2014. In our package, it's
well, you thought, yeah, what Debbie.
1.9 million.
Yeah.
Is the majority of that for real estate, I would assume. I would assume the businesses have all paid, or most of them.
Yeah, the businesses pay up pretty good. We still have,
Government entities.
well, we still have some big delinquencies on personal property right now that we're getting ready to do warrant debts on. And I'm surprised that some of them haven't paid, you know, but a couple of them owe quite a bit of money. So that's, you know, we just try to do the best we can getting it up. That's why we're trying to get this other attorney there, Pulaski, to help us do that stuff. Did you ever send that out to them? That proposal he sent?
They have, Scott's looking at it.
Okay,
We got it yesterday.
all right.
I guess the other thing is on delinquent taxes is, it appears to me, based on past years, our delinquency is up.
Oh, yeah, way up.
The two treasurers of the two towns are they experiencing the same delinquency rates?
No, they haven't said anything about it, really. Well, looking at the numbers of delinquent notices we sent out, we used to send out a couple thousand. Last year's taxes for 13, we sent out 6,300 personal property tickets when we got rid of the decals. Y'all may not like decals, but they brought the money in. It gave people a reason, just like your state tag. If I don't have that decal, I'm going to get a ticket. And we sent out 6,300 that year, and this year we sent out, well, we had 10,000. I didn't send them all out. We sent out about 7,000. It's a combination then of those old cars, and people don't pay their sticker fees and come in and pay that, you know, pay their tax. Because we have several pages, I think what I told you, like 18 pages, is probably just $20, which is sticker fees. And that's those people that, for years, we did not send them a tax bill because it was less than $1,000, so the car tax rebate covered it. But then we started to send them a bill for $20, and they're ignoring it. But if they had that decal, they had to have that decal on the window. It helped our collections. I'm sorry, but it does. To me, it was not a good thing getting rid of our decals. So that's my opinion.
Well, we got a joint meeting Monday night with the towns. I put part of our stickers on there.
Ask about them. Ask them.
Well, that's the reason I was trying to get ammunition before that.
Well, in some of the conversations with Lori and Mike, you know, we're waiting to see what you all do. And I tell them, you know, we ride the meetings and stuff together. I said, well, you know, our delinquencies are way up. And they see it and they understand it. You know, they may want to do away with them. I don't know. But that's up to them. But I can see a distinct difference in the amount of delinquent taxes when we did away with them. I mean, it was just.
But if they don't pay their taxes, when they go to get their tags at DMV, they're not gonna be able to get their tags, right?
That's true.
So, I mean, eventually, they're gonna run into a roadblock somewhere that says, I've gotta go pay my taxes.
If you want to put a $25 fee on a $20 fee, I personally have a problem doing that. We're doing a DMV stop on this fee.
I personally don't have a problem with it because they need to pay their taxes just as well as I pay
Well,
mine.
they probably do.
I mean, and when they pay that $20 fee at or come back to pay us our 20, they're gonna have to pay that 25. We're not paying it, right?
That's right. They gotta pay it. But it's, that turned out to be more of a problem than we thought it was, doing this mass downloads the DMV. We didn't know it until just a couple of months ago, around Christmas time, that every 90 days, the DMV purges all those out of the system. So we show on our computer, we have notes, hey, their sub-tracking number that what we use to remove the stop with, they're no good. And we have to call DMV in Richmond to find out how we get rid of these things. Well, we don't show you have a stop on them. Yeah, we did have a stop on them. And the DMV here says it's got to stop because it's on their records. We have trouble getting them off now because of that. Because they take all those records out of the system every 90 days. So David and I are talking about, well, we're just going to, about every 90 days, put them back in, but it's going to create a lot of confusion, I'm afraid. We'll try and see.
If your job was easy, everybody'd want it, Sam.
I know.
Thank you, Sam. Faye, do you have anything?
Something they want to ask me or something.
Anybody got any questions for Faye? Okay. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Faye. We go into committee reports. Water Committee.
Okay, the Water Committee met on March 17th, 2015, and recommends an amendment and appropriation of $18,850 for a road bore and associated work on Route 94.
Okay, come from committee. Doesn't need a second. Any discussion? Here none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Recommendation passes. Is that all you have from the Water Committee?
I believe that's all the Water Committee had.
Okay. Budget Committee.
We had two recommendations. The first is to transfer $15,000 from line item 3102 to 31025 for overtime, and this, of course, is associated with the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, come from committee. It doesn't need a second. Any discussion? Here none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye.
And the second recommendation was to amend and appropriate $1,377 for payment of the VML VACO AEP Steering Committee 2015 and 2016 assessment.
Okay, come from committee. It doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next report, is that all from the?
Yes, that is.
Insurance Committee? Is that me or you?
Either one.
You go ahead.
Insurance Committee, which consists of Melissa Bond, DSS, Superintendent of Schools, his representative was Wesley Booth, Mr. Crockett, myself, Mr. Hausman, Martin Collins. I met, at this point in time, we're going to recommend a few things that you allow us to go ahead and send a letter to the local choice that we're going to renew for fiscal year 16, which runs from basically October 1 to next September 30.
Good.
Part of that also includes that the Key Advantage 1000 plan be the staple with the option to buy the Key Advantage 500, which is complete. Is a downgrade from currently you can buy for Key Advantage. We pay a percentage of Key Advantage 500. Our loss ratio is around 8%, even with the other. We also, so that everybody currently is equal, we would pay $515 per employee. That's an increase of $5 on the Board of Supervisors employees to pay. The employee then would pay. The difference on the school board side, they currently pay $493 for the employee, which is $22 increase for payment for each one of those people. The other thing that's important is that the board set a committee and give a direction to the county and the school system to start investigating and come up with a plan of how we can create health saving accounts and means to, by next year, about January. So they don't have long to do it. They said if we could give that assignment to the insurance committee, health savings accounts, and figure out how we can implement a different plan that when we change deductibles doesn't hurt the employees. And all that would be pre-tax type of issue. We would prefer to do a hybrid type of plan that the county set aside a sinking fund to cover the percentage of the higher deductible plan, and also that the employee be able to start setting aside money pre-tax that they could cover their deductible amounts so that they don't see these big one-time expenses when a couple of $3,000 out of pocket when they have a catastrophic event. First, we'd like to approve to say we're going to renew. We understand the second part is just a recommendation. That has to go through the budgetary process for the full Board of Supervisors. That is our recommendation. And we'd also like approval from the board to institute this committee. If you want different people, that's fine, but I think the group that's on there has a good understanding of what's happening with healthcare, that we'd be allowed to start that investigation and prepare a plan to bring back to the board by next January of how to implement a different kind of plan.
Okay, well, first we'll, motion come from the committee to renew the local choice renewal option for plan year 2015, 2016. Come from the insurance committee. It doesn't need a second. Is there any questions or discussion?
My only discussion, of course, I said this in the insurance committee, is, you know, I personally don't like it, not because of the insurance company, but because of, I think we're running into a lot of problems because of the Affordable Care Act. And so the only thing that we could economically do is to drop the key advantage expanded, which means that, you know, people who, you know, who want and are willing to pay for the extra coverage now won't have the option to do that, but the key advantage expanded, whereas the rest of it went up, what, about 8%, 7 to 8%. It was, they increased it over 12%. So we're just getting in a situation, again, this is a philosophical thing that doesn't have anything to do with this, but we're getting into a situation where if you want better health care, even if you're willing to pay for it, they're just putting it, you know, it's completely going, you know, out of reach. And I just say that because personally I resent it. Of course, the other thing was that it didn't matter which plan you got this year, the deductible automatically went up $1,000. That, yeah, that was just, yeah, across the board. So people are going to be paying more out of pocket. And so that's why I think that the second part of this, you know, to put together this, you know, committee to look at alternative plans and these health savings account programs. So what we're doing is we're making things more and more and more complicated. So, but that's my philosophical and political rant for today. But I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Dr. House.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
I guess the other thing we didn't say is that the county has to pay a penalty per quarter, $2.08, because of the Affordable Care Act. philosophical, we're talking about, 1,400, $20-some thousand penalty that we're paying that's not part of this, and
Just because of that.
just because of that. I just don't like it myself, but I can't solve the problem.
Well, I don't like it either, but
I think we all hate it. Let's just.
Keep your fingers crossed for June in the Supreme Court.
yeah. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead with the motion from the insurance committee to approve the renewal of the plan year 2015-2016. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 And Chair votes aye. Now, as far as the committee, my suggestion is we leave it with the insurance committee. I think it's a good committee to leave it with and good people on the committee. And I'll entertain a motion for that.
I would so move.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, whether any discussion or any comments? Hear none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hear none. Anything else from the insurance committee? Hear none. County administrators report. Mr. Dalton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 3 items. The first one is a letter from American Electric Power, APCO, is of a public hearing this Thursday, 5 to 8, at Blaine County Elementary School. That's old Blaine County High School. So, get confused. As you notice on the little plan, I got a bigger plan after I saw this from AEP. 2 of their proposed routes, they advertise as a rebuild, but there's a couple of significant changes, especially in Wythe, that impact what our proposed road alignment, some other things that we're doing. I plan on going to public hearing Thursday night. Basically asking that one of those alternatives not be considered at all, the one that conflicts with Nye Road and comes through the town. And next item is a memo from Mr. Bear. We held a public hearing on the surplus property tracts last year. We did not take action declaring surplus. Asked that the properties listed be declared surplus, or if they sell, when they are sold, not when they sell. At the auction, that Wythe County attorney can prepare the deeds and transfer that property.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to declare the property surplus. Surplus property.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to declare surplus property, the ones listed here. Any discussion or comments?
The auctions will be here or at the courthouse? Or will they be on
Speedwell
site?
auction will be at Speedwell,
Okay.
the old firehouse building.
No.
No, it'll be at the field that day, and then they'll go to Ivanhoe at 1 o'clock and have the sale at Ivanhoe.
Okay.
It will be on-site sales. Any more discussion? Do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye.
Last item is we received a GOF grant and the back of it, grant for $155,000. A local grant, $50,000, requested the $205,000 be amended and appropriated to the JIDA budget.
Can I have a motion to
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion passes.
That's everything I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, moving right along, county attorney's report. Mr. Farley?
I don't have anything to report at this time. I would like to ask if we're in the meeting, if we go into closed session and talk about some litigation that's going on.
Okay, at the end of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Board of Supervisors report. Dr. Housen.
I really don't have anything other than the question, and I could wait till the next water committee meeting, but did we get a chance to look at that road, where it said that the road had fallen, or that hole in the road up on Route 11?
No.
I rode up there. I don't think that's ours, Gary, but Don said he'd look into it more to be sure there wasn't a water line over there.
Okay, well, it may not be. I thought that it was where it was cut under to go over to the water line on the other side of the road.
I sent Jeff Russell an email and asked that they repair it.
Okay. Okay.
He hasn't responded to that.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, West Whitfield.
I don't have anything other than Good Friday's coming up, and I didn't see anything in the packet about, we typically allow county employees off Good Friday, is that?
We have done that each year as, through a motion.
Well, I'll make that motion that we do that.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and a second to give the county employees off Good Friday. Any more discussion? Hear none. Do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 Aye. The chair votes aye. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Fort Chisholm District.
I would ask Mr. Dalton or someone on the staff to make sure that the sheriff continues the litter pickup. I know we've had a couple of months of bad weather, but a lot of the primary roads are really, really looking bad. There's tons of trash back out there. And then look into solving that problem on the railroad properties, known locally down there as a reservoir site. That thing's getting totally out of hand. It's only gonna get worse.
They're still dumping.
Oh, more by the day, truckloads by the day. Somebody needs to be dealt with severely.
Now, we now have, appears to be a roofing contractor dumping machine.
There's office furniture there, there's bed springs and mattresses, and it's grown exponentially in the last month and a half.
I'll talk to the sheriff and see if he can, if there's any way we can put a camera.
We got those cameras, and there's plenty of trees down there.
While we're on the subject with the trash pickup, Mr. Dalton, JB was telling me that the muffler or exhaust pipe needed a hanger. The hanger was broke, and the mirror was about to fall off, I don't know, on the front of it. Is that all, Joe?
Yep, thank you.
I also had a trash pickup question, and I referred it to Mr. Bayer. He's very good to handle that stuff.
He's good with trash.
So I take it you took care of it, Stephen? Is that all you have, Corey?
That's all.
I
Gene?
don't have anything at this time.
And that's all I had was the discussion about the vehicle, the trash pickup vehicle, which we may need to look at that some more about getting another one.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I forgot one. I had a citizen come to the store Sunday, and he was pouring new tires on his truck. He took them to the trash in another truck. They refused to take them. And that was it for sure. So he had to go back home and get his truck and took the tires off, and take them back down there, and they took it. I said, I don't believe that's the right way to do that. So somebody, we need to either inform him or inform Virgil that he's telling people wrong.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing that because I took a couple of tires
He said this was
at
permanent.
Max Meadows and they took them. I just had to sign my name.
He said he wouldn't take it.
Our ordinance is 4 tires per registered vehicle, isn't it? Per year. Okay. It doesn't say how they're conveyed to the,
Don't say you have to
Right.
drive the vehicle that
Right.
you took them off of. Gene, do you have anything?
Not that I can remember or think of right now. I was trying to think if I did.
Okay.
I know I've got trash, but I can't remember where I saw all the trash out on the side of the road. I know it was probably somewhere on my bus route, so.
Yeah, I seen quite a bit on Chapman Road. Some bags is busted and trash is getting out of hand again on Chapman Road, the frontage roads. Okay, moving right along into new business. We have the consent calendar. Have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I would make that motion.
Have a second.
Hey,
Have a motion and second to approve the consent calendar. Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Next item on the agenda is Grandview Farms LLC. This is the vacation of the plat. Mr. Dalton, do you want to comment on this?
Grandview requested several months ago to vacate the internal plat on their land down there where they've now permitted for a quarry. Part of that vacation process, the county attorney signed a couple of pages, prepared a plat or a deed, page 2, you'll see that it says Jackson Law Group, the first paragraph, we had that amended to represent what the county wanted to do that when we build the road. First, they're going to provide us land at no charge to fix Ken's Lane. Second, as part of that, it's all that cut area. So when we ever decide to build that road or improve, what we do is just load on the trucks and they haul it away. Otherwise, if we were just hauling it away, it costs us money, so it's actually a win-win. And this also allows the vacation of all the right-of-ways and roads in here that turns the whole site basically into a quarry site in one lot. So I think it's in the best interest of the county to grant this. And under the code section, since they own all the lots, I think we determined that in review, that the board can do it under the code section that allows just the vacation of the plat without any public hearing and second.
Okay.
County attorney's got anything to add to that?
I do not.
Okay, you've heard the request from Grandview Farms to vacate the plat. To have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
To have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve their request to vacate the plat of Grandview Farms LLC. Any more discussion or comments?
So basically what they're doing is just vacating all the property lines within the boundary, and so they will just have the outer boundary line.
Yes.
And they own everything inside it.
Yes.
Okay.
So if they ever want to go back and put boundary lines in, then they'll have to come to the planning commission and we'll make more money off of them.
Actually, with their limited road frontage, they'll never get the kind of plat they have now. There's
Yeah.
a couple of them.
Oh, okay.
But they're in the right business, not in the subdivision.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is the DSS profile report, and my screen just went blank.
This is an annual report that's prepared by the state of Virginia. Gives you a snapshot view of a certain day and a certain time of Wythe County in regards to poverty levels, children 0 to 17. How many of those are living in poverty? I guess in our insurance meeting, Gary and I had a long discussion about things, and I thought it was just appropriate to share with everybody what the snapshot of the county looks like according to poverty. Sometimes we forget those things and need to be reminded.
Yes, we received this in the DSS meeting, and I brought it up and thought it would be a good thing to share with all the board and the rest of the county. Okay, moving right along. Do you have
May I
any
ask,
questions?
and I don't, what is the poverty rate right now, I mean, poverty level? Do we not, I can't remember. Based on income, I know. It's very low. I can find out, that's no problem.
I'm trying to find it here, but
Actually, I have it.
I mean, I guess it's just very concerning that we have over 21%. You have children in Wythe County that are, you know, at or below the poverty level.
it's on the first page there, Gary. It's,
Well,
You looking for a dollar amount?
yeah, that's
Here?
what I was looking for.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'll find that somewhere. That's,
it gives you the number of people in the county. But I don't think it gives a dollar amount. And it also gives a list down there of SNAP, TANF, Medicare, Medicaid, and how many people in the county is on each one of those programs.
and I'll have to say, to me personally, you know, not so much as a supervisor, but personally, the non-marital births, 50%. In Wythe County of the births in 2012.
We have a high rate of teen pregnancies in the county too, that's, we need to look at and try to find some kind of program that we can get in the schools to address that problem.
Gary, I just looked it up online. It's saying that if a family of 3, the poverty level is 19,530. Family of 2, 15,510.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Okay, comprehensive plan. Mr. Dalton?
Do you have a comp plan? the planning commission is out on the road on the traveling road show. You need to read the comp plan. There's still Mel Rogers really hasn't finished the interchange studies for us yet, but you need to be reading that. At some point in time, there's got to be a public hearing. I would suggest on the traveling road shows, if it's in your district, go attend. Hear the comments. Don't let it be a surprise later on.
And if anyone knows, I mean, I know several I've talked to, try to get in touch with organizations, if there's any other organizations, we've had the public input meetings throughout the 3 localities before. This is just getting out and saying this is what the document is, trying to get more people just to look at it, see if there's any additional input. So if there's any other groups, just like Ms. Myers talked about, coming to speak, we're more than willing to go out.
I would like you to just get us the list of all the places that we're going where the board can attend if they wish.
Stephen, depending on what kind of attendance you think you may have, I mean, we could talk to Speedwell School and have one at the school, or we can have it at the firehouse in Speedwell, whichever you think would be better.
And we make another suggestion is that we make a copy or some copies, well, of course they can get it online, but available to the government teachers at all 3 high schools.
Okay. That takes care of that. And now we have a request by the county attorney to go into closed session to discuss litigation. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion that we go into closed session as permitted. Let me find out which one. Oh, it's permitted by Virginia Code 2.2-3711A7 for consultation with legal counsel.
And, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're now in closed session.
Okay, whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, and considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors.
Do I have a second to adopt the resolution? Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. So certified. Mr. Dalton, we have anything else before 1 to discuss? Hearing none, we'll be in recess until 12:55.